Also included in the injury chapter are the conditions due to drugs, medicinal, and biological substances. Understanding the definitions of underdosing, poisoning, and adverse effects is key to proper coding. Of note, you will see up above that we have poisoning can be due to different things such as accidental, intentional, or assault, or undetermined. Although there are major changes in the ICD-10 code format, the concepts are the same with the addition of underdosing, which is taking too little of a drug. A poisoning is the condition caused by incorrect use of a drug or substance. Simply put, a poisoning is not following the doctor's orders when taking the drug. This can occur whenever there's a wrong dose, overdose, or the drug is taken with alcohol or any other interactions due to over-the-counter or natural remedy type drugs. So our steps to code poisoning, the sequencing is our first code is the poison code first, followed by the manifestation code such as vomiting, rash, syncope. So when we're assigning the poison code, we're going to select the intent as accidental unless otherwise documented. And we can't forget the 7th character. An adverse effect is a condition caused when the drug or other substance is taken as prescribed and properly administered. But the patient may still experience a negative effect due to this medication or substance. Our sequencing in coding adverse effects is that the adverse effect condition goes first, such as if the patient has vomiting, that would be coded first, followed by our drug for the adverse effect. To find our adverse effect of drug, we start with the table of drug and chemicals, find that drug, then we go to the tabular list because, remember, we always code from the tabular list and we don't want to forget our 7th character. If there's a condition caused by the interaction of multiple and therapeutic drugs, which each one's used correctly, then a separate code is assigned for each drug. Let's try coding. In this example, a patient presents with syncope after taking the prescribed dosage of captopril. Captopril is a drug used to treat hypertension, by the way. So our first step in coding is we must determine if this is a poisoning, adverse effect, or underdosing. Well, since the patient took the captopril as prescribed, this would now be considered an adverse effect. So our code sequence is the adverse effect goes first, which is syncope, and now we need to determine what our drug code is going to be. So we go to our table of drugs and chemicals. We look very carefully under the indexes, and under C we find captopril. Following that red line across the page, you will see that the difference in intention varies by that 6th digit. Do you see that the adverse effect code is T46.4X5? Also note that the X in there is a placeholder for the 5th digit. So placeholders can be used as 5th or 6th digits. Of interest, note that there's a carbamate insecticide about 5 lines down. This is an illustration of when you have a toxic effect of a chemical, they are only considered poisonings and not due to an adverse effect or underdosing, and this is why you don't have a code under those entries. Remember in ICD-9 how we had E-codes? In ICD-10, we now have the same base code with only a differing 6th character. Are we done coding? No, we go to the tabular index. So in our tabular list, we find our T46.4X5, and we see that little red box. That means we need a 7th character. So where do we find it? We go to the category T46, and this tells us which 7th character is needed to be added. So for our initial encounter, the 7th character is A. So putting it all together, our correct codes in order are R55 for syncope, and then the T46.4X5A for the adverse effect of captopril. Let's consider this example. Our patient presents with syncope after taking double the amount of the prescribed dosage of captopril. So how would we code this? Well, this would be a poisoning because we have an overdosage of the drug. We're going to refer to our previous slides where we have all the information we need to code this. So the codes would be the accidental poisoning of captopril, which is T46.4X1A, and you will notice the only difference between the poisoning and the adverse effect is that 6th digit, which changes from a 5 to a 1. We are still assuming that this is the initial condition, so the codes are as shown above. Congratulations on coding injuries and poisoning and adverse effects in ICD-10.